homeschoolers, it's me Jazz again from Hidden Library Homeschool, and I'm back with another curriculum video. In this video I'm going to go over what my kindergartner Clark is going to be using for this school year, and also what my preschooler Bruce is going to be using for this school year. I took a little bit of time to do this video because, like I talked about in my last video in my homeschool update, we are doing 6 weeks on, 1 week off with schooling. But with that, since my older son Tony is in 3rd grade and he kind of, has been doing school for a while and we have a little bit of a groove going on with schooling, I took the first 6 weeks to just introduce any new things with him, get him started, and he has a lot more independent work since he's older and can read and can do a lot more stuff on his own. So we got him started in the first 6 weeks, and now in the second 6 weeks, I'm starting out my younger kids. They've been tagging along in the first 6 weeks, but I didn't do too much focused work with them just so we can, have things started here and then just add on instead of starting everything all at once. So my younger sons will probably be doing a little bit more work over the summer, while my older son will probably just be doing any catch-up that he needs to do or just keeping up with math and reading. So to get into some of the things that I have for my younger kids, like I said, with Bruce, since he's so young, I'm not going to focus too much on him, but I do have a couple of little things for him. I did find at Dollar Tree these cards. They are, layering, coloring, and geometry cards. And of course these were at the Dollar Tree, so they were cheap ad for him. They have things like different colors, so you can put blue and yellow together, and then you can see what color these make. And that's him singing a little I Can Build song out there. Sorry, if you're going to hear kids through this video, I've tried a couple of different takes for this, and I've just given up, so they're going to be loud. They are in the living room, which is nice when doing school because it's right outside of the homeschool room, and I can keep an eye on the younger kids, but it's not so nice with a video because they're just loud. But they're boys and they're kids, so yeah, I can't help it. So they can layer these, and there's, shapes on here, circle, square, all that kind of stuff. Some of these are stripes, and they can just put those together and see what they make when they put them together. Like I showed on my homeschool favorites tag video, I showed Rachel and the Treeschoolers, and just like it is advertised, this is really preschool on TV. Let's see if I can get this without too much of a glare. Here are the different topics that they go over, and like I said, I talked about this already on my homeschool favorites video. But my kids really love these, and they love the songs on here and singing along and learn new signs from, this is from Two Little Hands Productions, the same people that make Signing Time. Also for Bruce, I have some of these McRuffy books, and these are their preschool books, which are fairly new. I think they're only about a year or so that they've had these. They do have some of their version of some of the classics, like this has Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Little Pigs. They have some of their own original stories in here, and let's see what else they have in here. They have an alphabet book also. So we're probably just going to be doing these whenever he's interested in this. We're not going to focus, try to get every single one in. If we don't, then it's no big deal. Pretty much everything else that I have here is for Clark, who will be in kindergarten this year. Our main goal this year is to kind of get a little bit of hold in reading, and that goal is really set out by Clark more so than me. If he, doesn't pick up too much reading this year, I'm not going to worry too much about it, but he really, really, really wants to learn how to read. I think he wants to learn how to read because Tony reads, and he sees him picking up big books and can, and Tony's talking to him about, I read this and I did this, and Clark wants to also be able to do that. But I do see that he's not at the point where it's, clicking. So I'm not trying to push him. We do it on days that he asks, but we don't do it, if he's not interested or he's not asking about it, we don't do it because I know that he's just not there yet. And maybe he'll be there in a couple of months, or, we'll see what happens. But our goal is to get into All About Reading. I've had this for a while. This is the first version of it. They have a new one out. And I also have the activity book that goes along with this. I purchased it, I think, probably about 1.5 years ago. I don't even know if they sell this version anymore. And I'm trying to resist the urge to buy something new. I always, ooh, there's something new out. Let's try that out. So I'm trying to resist the urge not to buy something because I already have this whole program, the 3 books that go along with it. And the other one, it looks like it's broken up a little bit better for what I think I would, what Bruce would need. with the sections in the front that it's talking about. I think there's a couple more lessons to break things up just a little bit further, but they go over lots of different topics in here. So we're just going to try to get through this. And since we're not really at that right now, we are working with classical phonics. And this is another thing that I've had for a while. And what I like about this is it goes just a little bit slower, and it just takes one letter at a time. And then they're having M and A, and they're just making one word, am. And then they're moving on to be able to make a couple more words when they add more sounds. And then by the middle of the book, they're putting all these vowel and consonant teams together. Word families, that's what I meant to say. All the word families. There's short things right here for them to read. And I don't know that we'll get through this whole book before we go back to All About Reading. But if we kind of, get our feet wet with reading, and then when I see that he's kind of picked it up a little bit, we'll probably just transition into All About Reading. Also from McRuffy, I do have some of their readers. I've had these for a while, and like I said, most of the stuff is not new. I have the kindergarten first step readers, and I just like these because they're silly enough to keep the kids' interest, and short enough that they can feel like they still read a book. These are only let's see how many pages are in here. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only like 4 pages in here, so they can still feel like they read a whole book, but it's not too challenging for them at such a young age. We also have the older version of the kindergarten black and white readers, and by the end of it, they're reading a little bit longer of sentences, and this just gives a little bit of variety for things for them to do. I think the new ones are probably in color. We also have Ruff's Readers Volume 1, Pond Pals, and then Volume 2, Adventures with Ruff. And like I said, if we don't get to all of these, that's okay. If we just, he can pick whatever he wants to read from. If he gets to the point where he's reading, simple sentences, that's great to just have things on hand. Also from McRuffy, we have the Ruff's Pre-Writing Book. And what I like about this is it's contained. I had a lot of things with my older son that I just laminated and tried to keep track of, and that didn't happen because, it's just hard to keep track of certain of things from everywhere. But what I like is that it has things that they can go over. They can trace these different shapes, and then you can put this clear sheet right here, but it also works for if you're going on the back, you can flip it this way and go over the stuff on this, and they can work on, straight lines here, but on the other side, they can be working on circles or whatever the shape or lines that they're working on at that time. I also have for writing practice, Wipe Off I Can Print Modern Font, and I've had this again for a while. It probably needs a good wiping. Some of the pages are a little bit messy, but it probably needs a good, alcohol, swab going on here. But my kids really do like this, and he likes that he can feel like he's writing just like his older brother. And for new things, I don't have too much. I do have some of these books here. I did buy Clark a new encyclopedia. I'm always on the lookout for a really good encyclopedia, and while I like this and it's okay, I wish it was a little bit more updated. Some of the pictures in here, it looks like they kept the picture from the 90s, which I don't think that the kids mind too much, but like you can see, they didn't update any of the pictures. I mean, food is still food, bread is bread, so that doesn't really get in the way of it, but it's probably something the parents notice more than the kids. But I like this too because my son Clark likes to ask his older brother Tony about different topics. Of course, because Tony's older, he thinks that he's so much, he's smart and he knows all this stuff because he's in 3rd grade. So Clark will ask him questions. What about this? Did you learn about this? Can you tell me about this? So this is a good jumping off point for Tony to review things if Clark wants to ask him things about different things that he knows. Okay. Other new things that we have, I have Morris Goes to School. We love Morris around here, Morris the Moose. So I thought that this would be a fun book to add to our collection. And I'm probably going to have to do, I don't know if I mentioned it before, a second video with all of our literature books. I've kept all of our literature books that I've had with Tony because I knew I would be having, more kids and... Sorry. Can you guys play nicely? Like I said, it's going to be loud. Sorry. I kept a lot of my books because, you know, Cat in the Hat doesn't get old, things like that. So I did keep a lot of those, and I'll probably go through on a second video all the literature books that we're doing, because that's really our main focus with kindergarten right now, is just reading over different stories and talking about them and, you know, making pictures about them or doing a little activity about them. That's our main focus. But getting back to some of the books that I have for this video, I think I showed this in another haul, this reading literature, the primer, and I don't know when I just looked over this earlier today if we'll get into it, because it is a little bit more advanced than, you know, where we are right now with reading, but it is nice to have on hand, and maybe during the summer or even next year, Clark will be able to get into this book, or I can just read some of the stories to him. For geography, we have Henry's map, and this is about a little pig and mapping things out on the farm. I also have the Once Upon a Time map book, and what I really like about this is, like I said, all of our literature books, we're going to go over different classic stories, just the stories that most kids hear about in preschool, pre-K, and kindergarten, and we can find some of those stories here on the map. This is the Land of Oz, and it has a map grid, and we can, you know, ask questions like, where would this be found, in what, you know, square this would be found, and they could see where different things are. And it has Alice in Wonderland. It has Jack and the Beanstalk, I think this is, and different stories in here. We also have Miss Rumpus. We have Moby Dick, and I picked this up because my older son will be he'll be reading a junior classic version of Moby Dick, and I thought it'd be fun. Like I said, they like to talk about things together and what they've done in school. So I thought it'd be fun for Tony to also be able to read this book to Clark and him also hear the story. And this is, of course, a shorter version of the story. And I was debating earlier on in the school year if I would start out with Cultures and Continents with Clark the way I did with Tony. But it just seemed like it would be too much to do two different types of history, social studies, one with Tony going over Renaissance and the beginning of American history, and then going over Cultures and Continents with Clark. So I decided that Clark could just tag along. But in order to do just a little bit of different continents and just have him have somewhat of a familiarity of where things are in the world, I thought that this would be a fun way of doing this. And I got this from Five Below. It was only like $4. I'm not even sure when I picked this up. But it's My Amazing Sticker Atlas of Dinosaurs and Animals. And I do have two of them just in case Bruce wants to tag along. And so we don't have any fights of, I want to put the sticker on there so they each can have their own book. So it does come with two maps. This one is for dinosaurs, and you can see they have different spaces for them to put the dinosaurs on. And then it talks about different time periods and where those dinosaurs would be found. This book is making a lot of noise. And then it gets into different animals and different continents you would find those animals on, and then has another map on the back for putting stickers for where you could find those animals. So that is some of the new stuff that I have. Just a couple of books. I really didn't spend too much on him at all. The main thing that we are doing with Clark are these 3 books. And while this looks like a lot, it does look like, workbook heavy. It's really not. We're just picking and choosing from these books. They all have, sections. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, this is better in this book. So that's pretty much what we're doing with these. Clark is finishing up, I think he has one section left of the Curious George pre-K book, so he's really excited to get into the kindergarten book. And this is Curious George Adventures in Learning, and this book, it's okay, it's not my favorite, but he really loves it. He loves Curious George, and I do like that they do have, a story section in the beginning, and it is supposed to be a story-based workbook. They do have some things in here, circle this, write this. And, it's okay. I do like that they ask questions right here, and it reminds you to ask the kids questions about the stories, because I've seen and I've heard from a lot of other people with, more than one kid. The first kid, it seems like things come a lot more naturally, questions come up more organically, you point things out, and it seems like you're just kind of more like, oh, this, here's this, what's this, and that happens a little bit more naturally with the older kid. With the second and third kid, it seems like it's a little bit more of an effort to make sure you're bringing up all those little things that happen throughout the day and not just kind of glancing past them, going past them pretty quickly, and making sure that you're pointing all that stuff out with the younger kids. So I do like this book for that, to remind me to point things out and ask different questions. But I don't really make him do every single page in here, and we kind of just talk about it. And like right here, I'm not gonna have him write a whole sentence right here. He's in kindergarten. We're not gonna, get into that type of thing. But we will be doing this book, just pieces of that. The main thing that we are doing this year are these 2 books, and I love, love, love these books. I forgot to mention them in my homeschool favorites tag, but yes, they are some of my favorites. This is the pre-K version and the kindergarten version of Smart Start books, and these are from Evan Moore, and they go over science, math, art, reading, thinking, and geography skills. And these are great tag-along books. I would definitely recommend these. Because I don't want to be doing 2 completely different, a science with this kid and a science with that kid, history with this kid and with that kid. These books are great for finding little sections and doing the main lesson, focus more on the older kid, the younger kid, listening in, but finding a sheet in here and a short lesson in here for the younger kids to go over and do that with them. So I have the pre-K and the kindergarten because I thought I was going to do the pre-K with Bruce, but he's just not ready for that. But I'm glad I have both of them because I've seen that they have some different topics, like one went over plants, the other went over trees. So we did have to kind of flip back and forth when we were doing that section in Nancy Larson Science and have something for Clark to tag along with, but it was nice to be able to have that. So they do go over some writing skills, some letters, well, all the letters. They also, what I like here too is for the yes no questions, they have happy face, sad face, so that's a lot easier than having them write the whole word out. Yes, they are short words, but like I said, I don't push writing in the early ages, in kindergarten. There is some math here with shapes and counting, and then here's another counting thing here. And then let's see if I can find this, because I can never seem to be able to find this section. Anything, when I'm trying to do a video, I can never find the section I really want to get to. But I do like that, I'm not going to be able to find it. I do like that they talk about the different science topic, and I do pair these also with the Rachel and the Treeschoolers videos, so that's nice to be able to have those. And then there's things that they could write over here, draw the pictures. Oops. Let's see. And they also have a geography section. I do have the Evan Moore book, Beginning Geography, I think it's called, but I don't think that Clark is quite ready for that. I did do that with Tony in kindergarten, but I don't think that Clark is quite ready for it, so I do like that this is a little bit more simple. And then also in the back, they have different little activities that they can cut out and do. Let's see. There's a little chicken one. So fun things for them to do in here. And we also, of course, have the kindergarten one. I'm going to try one more time really quickly to see if I can find one of the sections that we've done in here. But we've been skipping back and forth on different topics. Oh, I found it. Yay. So when we went over the trees in Nancy Larson Science with Tony, he listened in on the lesson Clark did, and then I read this over with Clark on his own, and he had a thing here where he could, label the different sections and see where those are. Pretty similar to what Tony was doing. And they had them answer a couple of questions here, match these together. There is a section then here for them to draw what they've seen and what things look like. Some of them have simple experiments on here and have the kid drawing those things. So I really would recommend these Smart Start books from Evan Moore. They're great, great tag-along books. And this is kind of our main thing that we're doing with my kindergartner Clark this year. So I'm going to stop the video right here because it's getting pretty long, and I'll do a second video, like I said, of all of our literature books that we are reading and going through, and that's pretty much our main thing that we're doing this year with both of my sons, my younger sons, my preschooler, and my kindergartner. So thanks for checking this video out from Hidden Library Homeschool. Please like, comment, and subscribe below. Bye.